Britain's oldest intact wheel has been unearthed at a Bronze Age site dubbed the Pompeii of the Fens. The 3,000-year-old wooden wheel shows ancient Britons were finding innovative ways to move across land when it was previously thought they only used transportation across rivers. The solid wheel, around 3 feet, 1 meter, in diameter, would have been the last word in sophistication at the time, archaeologists said. It may well have belonged to a cart that was pulled either by several human hands or by a horse. But the artifact also poses a puzzle as it was found in wetland by a river in Cambridgeshire, where canoes would have been a more obvious mode of transport. Unearthed just a week ago, the wheel, complete with hub and part of an axle, is still buried in the mud and dates to between 1100 and 800 BC. It is the latest remarkable find at a quarry pit of a former brickworks at Must Farm, in Peterborough. So far the remains have been found of 5 or 6 Bronze Age roundhouses that had been built on wooden stilts above side channel of the River Nene. Historians think the settlement may have been burned to the ground in what may have been an arson attack. The timbers are well preserved, having been charred by the fire, before sinking into the river mud. Over the years the site became a clay quarry pit for a brickworks which later flooded. While a sword and a rapier were found at the site in 1969, little else was spotted until 2009. When the water level fell, a timber beam was spotted poking from the mud. Excavations revealed some of the items were abandoned during the fire, leading to the comparison to Pompeii in Italy, which was preserved after being buried by the volcanic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. The oldest wheel in the world, approximately 5,150 years old, was found 12 miles, 19 kilometers, south of Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, in 2002. The new British find is by far the oldest complete wheel to have been found in the country. But there may have been a fragment of a slightly older wheel, dating back to 1300 BC, found at nearby Flag Fen. It appears to be a panel of a wooden wheel that would have been 31 inches, 80 centimeters, in diameter, a little smaller than the complete wheel at Must Farm. Mark Knight, of Cambridge University's Archaeology Unit, said at the site yesterday, "What you see behind us is a wheel. Previously in the UK if we could point to a wheel we only had one panel. This is complete and appears to have its axle inside its hub. It's a wheel made of planks of wood braced together with a reinforced hub in the center. It's the most complete, oldest, largest wheel found in the UK. It might be odd to have a wheel in wetland by a river, for something that would get you round on dry land, but it demonstrates the schizophrenia this site is giving to us." Mr. Knight added, "The trees they are felling to make their buildings is coming from terrestrial woodland. Everything about them is terrestrial, even though they are living in this wetland environment." He said the wheel may have been used on a cart on nearby Whittlesea Island or the foreshore of Peterborough. He added, "The wheel may have been a status symbol. Carts may well have been something to show off in as you rode around. The villagers were clearly wealthy as they had enough resources to pay for luxuries such as the glass beads, metalwork, and textiles found at the site," he said. As well as a wheel, there was a horse backbone at the site which was probably butchered and eaten, although they cannot be sure that it ever pulled a cart with the wheel. It is not yet confirmed which wood the wheel is made of, but is possibly made of oak and alder. Mr. Knight said calling site the Pompeii of the Fens is an apt comparison at the site which is the most important Bronze Age settlement to be excavated in the UK. Everything, including the wheel, has been burnt. There is a real sense the pristineness of the structures, the pristineness of the artifacts is happening because the fire shortened the life of the settlement. We are getting a real sense of what happened in a few hours, we are seeing in its entirety, which is the Pompeii analogy, that clarity of detail, which allows us to say what we have. There's something very evocative about this scenario about this settlement burning down. All was not peace and harmony in the area as previous finds of weapons had shown, and Mr. Knight said the houses may have been deliberately burnt down. Although the wheel suggests rudimentary land transport, the rivers were the motorways of the Fenland area, Mr. Knight said. 8 dug-out canoes of varying sizes have been found nearby. Historic England has funded the 1.1 million excavation of the site. Iona Robinson Zeki, a researcher, said of the wheel, maybe someone in these houses made wheels, or repaired wheels. There's many reasons why it's there. Alternatively, she suggested it may be a form of decoration, saying, if you go to a farmyard there's always a wheel up against a wall. It's a bit of a red herring. But there you go. Similar stilt dwellings crannogs are still found in Scotland and Ireland. Stilt houses, known as pile dwellings, are found around the Alpine lakes and in Friesland and the Netherlands.